In early July, we traveled to Greenville, Kentucky to visit Blossom Hill Flower Farm. Owned and operated by Colby and her husband Brandon, Blossom Hill has been growing and selling cut flowers for the past 2 years. What started out as a pandemic hobby quickly became a full-fledged flower farm. They grow warm season annuals like Gomphrena, Celosia, Zinnias, Cosmos, and Amaranth, and that's just naming a few. Blossom Hill Flower Farm partners with several businesses in Muhlenberg County to sell their market bouquets and arrangements. In addition, they also sell fresh flower bundles to local florists. Blossom Hill already has plans for expansion, but they are taking their time to learn and become as efficient as possible. This year, they utilized a bed shaper and plastic layer, and it's greatly improved their planting potential as well as cut down on labor. In addition to Blossom Hill Flower Farm, Colby and Brandon own and operate Ferguson's Finds Antique Mercantile. They have supplied several flower farmers in Kentucky with counters, tables, and other unique pieces for displays and photos. So, of course, they put together a wonderful set for us to film our design video on. So, let's take a look and see what Dakota has in store for us today.
Hey everyone, we're here today at Blossom Hill Flower Farm in Greenville, Kentucky. And today we're going to be doing a big urn arrangement. So I've got this metal urn. I've used chicken wire inside instead of the floral foam. So this isn't a good alternative to the floral foam. We'll just put water inside this instead of the foam. And I use some tape to hold it in. Sometimes you can just wedge it in there and you don't really need any tape. But I'll go ahead and add my water. Then we'll get started. First, I'm gonna start off with the frost explosion grass. So I'm gonna use this to build my base. Like we've talked about before, instead of fern or salal or something similar to fill our vase, we're gonna use this grass. And this is going to cover my mechanics, it's going to cover my chicken wire, but it's also going to help hold stems of the flowers. And so I am putting some of these leaves down into the water just to give us some more hold. But if it was a clear container, you'd probably want to clean up some of the leaves that are going into the water. Okay, I think I've got a pretty good base to start with. I'm gonna save the rest maybe for the end to give me some highlights if I need. Next, I think I'm gonna find my height. So I'm gonna pick a good 2 pieces of celosia that are going to act as my height. So I'm not going to put stems above these stems. So that will kind of keep me in my boundaries. Good thing with the chicken wire, you don't have to worry about creating a hole like you would with foam. You can pull it out and replace it. Kind of like we've done with taping a glass vase. Next, I think I'm going to add some of these zinnias just around the edge to kind of give me my boundaries on the sides. I'm going to straighten up that celosia. I always turn my arrangement so I can see on all sides, see where I've got holes, see where I might need something different. I'm going to take some more of this celosia and give me further boundary. So I left some of the leaves on these darker colored celosia to give me a different color, a different texture from this grass. I'm going to continue adding some zinnias just around. This one's not going to hold where I want it. When you work with chicken wire, the hold is going to be a little different than some of the other materials we've used before. You know, depending on how wide your grid on your chicken wire is, it may be, you know, bigger holes versus smaller holes. The chicken wire I've got today has bigger holes, but I kind of scrunched it to try to give me closer grid on my vase. So I think I'm about finished with these larger zinnias. You don't want to put too big flowers up high, because then you're kind of weighing down the top of your arrangement. I think I'm going to tuck in some hints of this ageratum just to give me pops of color down deep on the inside. Maybe one or two up higher. By tucking things down in deep, you can create depth, and the depth makes your arrangement look fuller, even if you don't have as many flowers in it. You can go with less flowers if you change the plane they're on. So you've got some tucked down deep, you've got some on the outer edge. That makes your arrangement look a whole lot fuller than it would if all your flowers were perfectly rounded on the outside. Some of that's going to drape as well too and give me a nice effect. Then I'm going to start in with some of these gorgeous zinnias. This is the Queen Lime mix, and these are absolutely stunning, so I really want to showcase these. And they're smaller, so they'll fit, they'll do well up top. So this is just going to be a really full garden design. I didn't set out with too much of a design in mind. I just want to create as I go. And as you're going, you can always trim some things shorter and push them down deeper, or you can even remove things altogether. Because sometimes, especially when you're greening in the beginning, your greenery might be a little too thick, might be a little too tall. These marigolds are so fun, they smell really nice. They've also got some nice greenery, so if you needed some extra greenery, you could cut the stem where you need your flower and then leave the rest of this stem intact and put it down in there where you need some greenery, and just tuck it through your arrangement. I've got these beautiful coxcomb. I really want to showcase those, so I've placed them kind of higher up on the top. I know I mentioned you don't want to put too heavy flowers, at the top, but if it's a lighter color like yellow, you can get away with placing that up higher because the color doesn't carry as much weight as maybe a darker color. You wouldn't want to do like a purple or a red up there. It might weigh your arrangement down. You can also use buds on some of these plants as well, like this marigold that hasn't opened up yet. They make neat touches while also giving you some greenery to help cover those mechanics you've got that maybe are a little harder to cover. Next, I'm going to add some of this gorgeous gomphrena. This is something a lot of florists have trouble getting. If it comes through wholesale, for the florists that can actually get it, it usually isn't great quality. It's more of a, I'm going to end up drying it anyway because it wasn't good enough to use fresh. So if you're a grower and you sell to florists, ask them if they might be interested in the gomphrena. It's such a fun flower. I mean, everybody loves it. These little balls, they dry almost perfectly, and they're great additions to any arrangement. They really step up the appeal of the arrangement as well. Next, I want to add some cosmos. These are just going to give us a pop of color on the outside. I'm not going to stick these too far down in because they're so light and airy, they have to be kept on the outside. It's a rule. They've got some gorgeous double cosmos. These are just fantastic. I don't think I'd ever seen a double cosmo. So you learn something new every day. That's the great thing about local flower farmers. You know, I've been in the floral industry for over 3 years now, and horticulture for almost 10, and I didn't know there was a double cosmo. Now I'm just adding my finishing touches. I wanted more of this gomphrena. Always take a step back and make sure your shape is looking good, that you don't have one side that is fuller than the other or sticking out a little farther. But there's an easy solution to that. You can always add a few more flowers, you can always pull things out a bit, or even tuck them in a little deeper. With the chicken wire, I can pull things out easily, I can push things in easily without creating a hole or, you know, reaching the bottom of my foam. Also, it's better for the environment. There's tons of floral foam alternatives. We did use foam in some of our videos this time, but I wanted to show you the chicken wire as well. I think I'm just about done. I've saved probably one of the most popular flowers for last. That's the Amaranth. Everyone is obsessed with the hanging Amaranth. For good reason, it's gorgeous. You do have to be a little careful with these because sometimes they can be fragile, especially as they age, but with local flowers, you know they're the freshest possible. They're easy to clean up though. If the tips start to get brown, you can just pinch them off, but they're great to drape. They just naturally drape. You don't have to trick them into draping. It might be touching the ground or the table here, so that's why I waited till the last. You always want to save things like that. And if you have to transport your arrangements somewhere, you can always take these in a bucket with you and insert them at your venue. That's the great thing about making it yourself. And there we have it.
Isn't this just gorgeous? A huge thank you to Colby of Blossom Hill Flower Farm for letting us come out. It was a typical humid Kentucky summer day, but it was so worth the heat and humidity once we got to meet Colby and see her gorgeous farm. Thank you so much to everyone who's been following along the past month. Just because Cut Flower Month is nearly over, that does not mean that cut flowers stop in Kentucky, so stay tuned because we will continue our content throughout the year.